All right, fans, welcome to Sports Chat. We actually have guests this week. We have Jobe and Rodney Ellison of Wartburg Central High School. Both coached at Jacksboro. Rodney played at the high school. Joseph, he actually played for me and Rodney at Jacksboro back in the good old days. And we figured we'd talk a little bit about football today since spring practice is wrapped up. You all have one more scrimmage left.
Scrimmage Sequoia High School tomorrow at 6:30 at Sequoia, so we got to make a pretty good trip. Our other scrimmage had been.
Now, where is Sequoia High School?
It's in Madisonville. They're a 4A school, so it'll be a great competition for us.
Patrick's thinking of Ellison. Where's Madisonville?
That's the place they have all the bridges at.
No.
They are a 4A school, and Coach Bill Satterfield is their coach. He's won over 200 games in his career, so he's a good coach.
It's just going to be a tough test for you.
Yeah, you're stepping way up in classification.
Yeah, we're a 2A school. They're 4A, so if we can hang with them, and I like scheduling up for our preseason scrimmages because if we can hang with those type of teams, then it should really prepare us for our season.
I know it's hard to tell in spring, but how are things looking now with your quarterback? I know you replaced a really veteran quarterback.
We did, and the quarterback we have this year, Austin Langley, he's a lot different than the one from last season. Rusty Phillips, who was an all-state quarterback, threw for over 2,000 yards. But they're two different types of quarterbacks. Rusty was an athlete. He could get out of the pocket and make plays and with his feet as well as his arm. And Austin's more of that prototypical drop-back passer, and he's got good height. He's about 6'3", and he's a lanky kid, but he's got a real strong arm. So be a different kind of quarterback than Rusty, but he's going to do a fine job.
Now, that sounds like a good guy to fit in the system you run over there.
Yeah,
we like to throw the ball.
Yeah, we love throwing the ball around, and he's got the arm to do it. So now, if he can work on a few things as far as touch and not he wants to force the ball in a few times, and you get that problem with those strong arm quarterbacks, and so he's been doing a great job in spring and getting better every day.
That's what spring's for. I mean, if you can get that out of him going into fall practice, you're going to be in a lot better shape.
Now, how are y'all looking on the defense?
Defensive side, we switched defenses to a 3-4. I've got a new defensive coordinator. He actually was our previous head coach, but I've moved him over to our defense coordinator in defense. They're a little bit behind the offense right now, but they're
which is kind of unusual.
Yeah. Well, we emphasize offense, and you got to have a great defense to have a great team. But they're catching up. We're just going slow with the defense because with the way we throw the ball, we have to put so much time into our offense if we want to be successful on the offensive side of the ball.
In practice, is your defense defending against your offense?
For the first half of spring, those first 5 or 6 days leading up to the blue and white game that we had, that's how it was. And but since then, we've started looking at different defenses versus the offense and different offenses versus the defense.
Now, go ahead.
Well, his offense is sort of unorthodox for a high school level. You don't see that many throws usually in high school offenses. You get a lot of running the ball, so I can understand why your defense would be having trouble against it.
Yeah, we run a true college-style spread offense. Tony Franklin is offense coordinator at Louisiana Tech, and we run a lot of his stuff mixed in with other stuff that I've picked up here and there. But our passing game is really based on his stuff, and it started with Tim Couch back at Kentucky years ago, and we're in a network with a system of a bunch of other teams that are trying to do the same type of stuff, and it really gets our kids prepared if they are to be able to take that step to the next level.
Now, Joseph, you coached one of the teams in the blue and white game. What kind of experience was that?
Well, for the most part, it was a pretty good experience. I coached against Rusty, who was the former quarterback last year, and a certain someone helped him out a little bit towards the end of the game. And I had the second string quarterback, and we had a few calls made that were the right calls, but him being the second string quarterback, he couldn't make the throw I quite wanted to have made.
It happens. I mean, you can ask Sean Jesse. Sometimes you just can't win those spring games.
I've heard that he often got a little upset over those spring games.
Well, the first time me and Rodney, we kind of had our way with him, especially when he thought we were going to run up the spread and start running the score up on him. The second year, me and the late Rex Hickey tied him. And the third year, me and Luke here, we beat him in Brent Hill. So,
Well, Coach Jobe had the odds stacked against him. He did have
Like Luke and I did against Sean and Brent.
we made the teams as evenly stacked as possible, but there is a big difference in our quarterback.
That's
and our
a
second-string
huge
quarterback.
difference.
So,
I mean,
what grade is your second stringer in?
He'll just be a sophomore next year, and he's still
so he was a
got lot
freshman when you had him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
still,
I mean, I understand how you could struggle with
he has a
times
lot
like
of
that.
growing up to do, but he's really coming along and learning the offense. That's the main
Is
thing.
Austin a senior, junior?
Austin will be a junior, so he had a year last year as the backup in the system and really got to learn everything.
So you'll have 2 years of him.
Yeah, we'll have him 2 years, and I really think he can be another all-state quarterback, and I look for him to be able to make it to the next level.
I know last year what impressed me the most about your offense and Rusty, especially that lack of interceptions. That's long streak, 150 throws approximately?
I can't remember exactly, but he threw quite a few passes without an interception. He was very smart, didn't have the strongest arm, but he was accurate, and he knew not to force it in. And he only threw, before the playoff game that we got beat, he only had 5 interceptions all year out of over 300 pass attempts. So, he was real smart with the ball, and that really helped us run the offense.
I know that's maybe the hardest thing to teach a strong arm quarterback is when not to throw it, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
Trying to teach Rusty, was it not Rusty? Austin not to throw the ball in certain situations.
Yeah, exactly.
They think they can make every throw.
Yeah.
It's good to have confidence of your quarterback.
Yeah. And sometimes with a quarterback like that, he's going to make the throw and it's going to be intercepted, but sometimes he's going to make that throw that you think, oh, and then it ends up being a touchdown. So, but Coach Jobe's doing a great job with the running backs, though, and I'll let him talk about the running backs some whenever you guys want to. We don't run the ball a whole lot, but people would think that. But we had a running back last year with 900 yards rushing, and he missed 2.5 games with injuries. So.
It's like
That's pretty impressive.
People never thought Florida ran the ball either back in the 90s, but actually Florida ran the ball a lot back in the 90s,
Yeah.
and that's why they were successful.
Our passing game opens up the run game. A lot of people used to run to open up the pass. We're just the opposite. But Coach Jobe
How are your backs doing, Coach Jobe?
We have a very good senior at the F-back position named Don Lamance. He's a very hard-nosed runner. I mean, kid, he'll give you 150%. I mean, it's gung-ho from the point he leaves the backfield to he gets the ball or he's blocking or whatever he's doing. And we have a junior, Wesley Melhorn, and he is more of a finesse back. I mean, he'll hit you, but he's more of a he'll make a move and break them 70, 80-yard runs kind of type of back.
That's the kind
And I actually had him in the blue and white game, and for a little while, I mean, when I figured out that I kind of couldn't make the throws that I wanted made, I just started running the ball. I was making Wesley. He was running to death. I ran him to death, and we scared Coach Shoemaker to death because we was moving the ball like crazy, just running it left and right, left and right, left and right.
If you can run the ball effectively, you can win any game you play in.
And I know Coach, he puts in the 26 special, which we ran at Jacksboro, and that play right there is going to be near and dear to my heart. Them running backs don't get it right, we're going to be having some problems.
I'm glad that somebody's running it these days.
It was a touchdown maker.
Hey, let me say for 26 special, we didn't put it in the spring because it's a simple enough play we can get it in the fall.
And why put it in the spring? I mean,
Yeah.
when you need to work on your passing.
Exactly. It's a simple but deadly play. I'm wanting to say we probably scored 6 or 7 touchdowns with it last season, and then we ran the 26 special pass, and we ran it 2 times all season. We were 2 for 2 with 2 touchdowns. One time against Oneida, and then the playoff game against Oliver Springs.
I remember the phone call after the Oneida game. I'm very happy to hear that 26 special was scoring since for some reason people just don't run it as much as they should. I give Sean a lot of grief about not using it.
Yeah, I don't think Puccielli will let him put it in up there.
To me, your most important part of your offense, how's your line?
We've got a solid line as far as the first 5. Now, if one gets hurt, right now what we're trying to do with spring, and we've shown a lot of improvement from day 1 to day 9 of spring practice, but we've really got to develop depth in the offensive line because if one of those starters goes down right now, there's a huge difference in the top 5 and the next 5.
Now, I know depth is a big issue at schools that are smaller in classification like that. You just don't have the student body to choose from.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you all have an impressive team that you put out there considering the size of your school. I'm pretty sure last year was bigger than Campbell County's team. Campbell County's team had maybe a little over 30 players, I seemed like last year toward the end of the year.
And that's around, we usually have between 30 and 40, somewhere in that range, and I feel for Campbell County if that's all they have at the 5A level.
At the end of last year, it got real thin.
After a few injuries and that, they were down in the 30s. It was a tough year for them. Probably why what happened up there happened. But anyway, your defensive line, how's it look?
The Well, luckily, because of the lack of depth in the line, we're running the 3-man front of the defense, which with our 3-4, it can sometimes look like a 50, sometimes look like a 4-3. Just depends on the offense we're seeing, this kind of set that we're seeing that we're aligning to. But we have Nick Crozier, who is a linebacker and a senior leader. He was voted as one of our captains. He's leading the linebacking corps, and those 4 linebackers are really going to be cleaning up on a lot of tackles because we have Brandon Robinson, Derek Harlan, and Andrew Sims, as of right now, are starting defensive linemen. They really take up a lot of space, especially Bobo, Brandon Robinson, and Harlan. They're 2 big guys, and if they get in their gap, it's going to take double teams to stop them, and that's just going to clean up a lot of room for the linebackers to make plays.
I mean, your linebackers can make those tackles. That's what you really have to have in that 3-4, since you're just using your line to clog the line up. You got a good nose tackle.
Yeah, that'd be Brandon. Now he squatted 520 pounds. Went in our lift-a-thon on Friday, and he hit the 1,000-pound club with his 3 major lifts. He's only going to be a junior next season. A lot of people might be thinking we're down this year because we lost 13 seniors, and our district is very tough. Coalfield won the district, and they only lost 4 seniors.
And that's the big rivalry game.
Yeah, that is the rivalry, and they've got everybody back. Oliver Springs, Oneida, both of those guys. Oliver Springs is returning most of their people. Oneida started freshmen and sophomores all over the field last year, and Sunbright has a big senior class return. So those 4
Sunbright
teams
had a pretty good run last year.
Yeah, they did, and
their offense definitely lit it up in a few games.
Yeah, and they've got a quarterback that threw for around 2,500 yards.
Weren't we sitting in the Arby's in Jellicoe last year when the Sunbright score?
Yeah. Yeah, now those 4 teams are probably considered the top 4 teams in our district this year. So we've got an uphill climb, but people don't realize we've got the 6 seniors we have are good, solid seniors, and the junior class is really, if they step up, we could be every bit as tough as we were last season.
I know a lot of people look at it, say, God, they lost that quarterback, look how great he was, they're going to fall off. Because a lot of people don't see past that.
Yeah, we lost 13 seniors. 11 of them were major contributors.
I mean, you had a linebacker that was last year also that was...
We had 4 of those guys make All-State. And I want to point out Wartburg's only had about 4 guys make All-State in history before last season, and we had 4 in one season, 3 from the offensive side, an offensive lineman, a receiver, a quarterback, and then our middle linebackers. So replacing those guys is tough, but I mean, if you, on day 1 of spring, you could tell we were missing them. Day 9 starting to look a little better. So as we get into the fall, we're really going to find out. We've got a long way to go, but those guys, if they step up, we can be competitive like we were last season.
What do you have your kids do over the summer? Just lift, run?
In June, because of Tito's away rules, lifting and running is all we're supposed to do. So they'll come in and do some conditioning and lifting. But once after the dead period is over, when we come back in July, you're allowed to start practicing in helmets and shorts. So we'll be able to really start doing a lot of 7-on-7 work with other teams.
I have to ask this. Are you going to do a Midnight Madness?
I've thought about it, but day 1 of practice is August 1st. I think that's a Monday. And we have in-service that morning, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. So
because it was a big hit back in the Jacksboro days.
Yeah, I would love to. But the 7-on-7s that we'll do in the summer, major for us with us being past team. We're going to Tennessee Tech, we're going to Maryville College, we're going to Anderson County one day, and we'll have a home 7-on-7. So we'll get a ton of work in the 7-on-7 that will be very important to us and help our team grow up a lot.
Now, when you go on those 7-on-7, I mean, you've got a center too, though, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, literally, you're almost kind of playing a man down.
Yeah, because of you're right, because we'll have 5 eligible receivers, which is basically what you would have anyway. You got your quarterback and your center, and then you'll have, 5 eligible receivers, I think.
But, it really allows your quarterback to have to deal with pressure and double coverage.
Yeah, well, there wouldn't be any pressure. The team.
So there's no 5-second blitz on this where he scrambles.
Every 7-on-7 you do is different rules. But yeah, you usually want to give him like a 4-second count or a 5-second count. Yeah. So,
gotcha.
But we have our quarterback go through his reads, goes through his progression. I don't care if he throws the little bailout route at the end. I want him working just like it is a game. I want him hot feet and moving in the pocket, and all those things are very important to get our timing down.
Okay, fans, that's the end of segment 1. We'll be back with these fellas in just a minute, and we'll be back soon.